Enrolling Vivotech cameras in Stratocast. Before enrolling a Vivotech camera, we must have a few things configured on the unit and the network, and we'll need some information about the camera we're adding as well. The first thing we recommend doing is setting up the client account on the Stratocast service. This can be done as part of the enrollment process as well, but you will need to make sure you have all the information needed about the client account and the client administrator. On the client's network, there are certain outbound ports we need to have open for camera communication. We need to have ports 443 and 22000 open for command and control, as well as ports 22001 to 22050 for video streams. The next thing we need is the IP address of the camera on the network so that we can connect to it from a web browser. The Vivotech installation wizard can help you find the IP address of the camera once it has been connected, but you will need the MAC address of the camera, which can be found on a sticker on the unit. The installation wizard can be downloaded from the Vivotech website if needed, and should be run on the same network the camera is connected to. We'll also want to make sure the camera is on the latest firmware. We can see the firmware version from the installation wizard's camera list, or from the camera's web page. To connect to the camera's web page, enter the IP address in a web browser and go into the Configuration tab. The firmware version should be indicated on the bottom left corner. Take a look at the Vivotech website for the most recent firmware version, or go to stratocast.com/supported-devices for a quick link to the Vivotech website for the camera selected. The firmware can be updated by going to the System section on the left, then to the Maintenance section, and browsing to the firmware file saved on your local machine. Hit the Upgrade button to start the process. The last step is to verify that the Stratocast package has been installed on the video unit. To check if it has been installed, connect to the camera's web page and go to the Configuration tab. In the column on the left side, click on Applications, then on Package Management. Under the package list, we will need to have the Stratocast module installed. In case it is not present, go back to the previous step and try to download and install a new firmware package. The Stratocast protocol should be included as part of the most recent firmware updates. If the latest firmware has been installed but you do not have the Stratocast module listed, please contact the Stratocast support department for assistance in downloading and installing the package. If you need to install the package, please make sure you do not have pop-ups disabled on your browser before doing so, as there will be a few extra windows opened automatically. When adding Vivotech cameras, we need to enroll the camera on the Stratocast service, which generates an activation code for the unit, and then enter that code in the Stratocast enrollment page of the camera. This will allow the camera and the Stratocast service to connect, and we can configure the video settings the same way we usually do from there. The easiest way to start the enrollment process is by going to the Stratocast enrollment page of the camera. There are two ways to get to the Stratocast enrollment page. The easiest way is to enter the IP address of the camera in the web browser, followed by /Stratocast. Please note that the S in Stratocast must be uppercase. If this is not working, we can also go through the menu options. From the home page of the camera interface, click on Configuration, then expand the Applications section, and click on Package Management. We should see a Stratocast package installed on the unit as we previously verified. Click on this package to get to the Stratocast enrollment page. From the Stratocast enrollment page, click on the link in the first step to request an activation code, and a web page will open to the Stratocast portal. If we are already signed in, it will bring us right to the client's page. Otherwise, click on the provider for the email address used to sign up for Stratocast and log in. At this point, we will be in tutorial mode, and the pop-up tips will show us what we need to do in order to enroll the camera. Tutorial mode helps us by filling in certain information that was passed from the camera. To stay in tutorial mode, please do not close any of the red pop-up tips. If there are no client accounts currently registered on Stratocast, follow the pop-up tip on the left to add a new client. From here, we'll be prompted to click on the number of devices for the client we wish to add the camera to. Click on this field in the appropriate row. Since we're in tutorial mode, it will bring up the Enroll a Device window for video units to add the VivoTech camera to the system. Enter the camera name and time zone information. The manufacturer should already be pre-selected as VivoTech. While we are in tutorial mode, we will not be able to choose another manufacturer. Hit the Next button, and while we would normally enter the serial number and OAK for an Axis camera, for VivoTech we will need to enter the camera's MAC address. This can be found on the camera itself or on the unit packaging. In tutorial mode, it will already have this information from the camera and will fill it in automatically. Click on Next, and Stratocast will give us the activation code for this camera and wait for the unit to connect. To get the camera to connect to Stratocast, we will need to copy the activation code from this section and go back to the camera's web page. Enter the code in Step 2 of the camera's Stratocast enrollment page and hit Activate. The camera will reach out to Stratocast, and once they have established a connection, the Stratocast Camera Enrollment Wizard will proceed to the final pages, where we can configure the plan and video settings for the unit. Please note that standard enrollment can also be done if needed, but we would need to manually select the unit type and enter the MAC address of the unit. Once the plan and video settings have been entered and we have clicked on Enroll, the video unit state will go to Updating and then Enrolled. We can now see video from this camera in Stratocast.